Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to Red Storm Chasers. I'm Vincent here with Craig, Tim, and Nick. On this episode, we're going to look back at the DePaul and New Hampshire games. We've got an interview with St. John's great DJ Kennedy, and we're going to look ahead to the Florida State matchup. Guys, how was everybody's week?
Well, for this week, I finally got my daughter to get over her pink eye and little sinus infection she had, so that's great. Finally, the house seems to be bouncing back from all the sicknesses that keeps getting passed around at the daycare.
That's good. Get some Kleenex going, Tim.
Hey, about to start investing in stock.
Yeah, probably some Clorox, too. That'd be good. Nick, what'd you do this week?
I went to L.A. this weekend, and I watched the Chargers beat the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football, which was awesome.
Very nice, very nice.
Great win. I'm a Chargers fan, always been a Chargers fan. Never saw them when they were in San Diego. I was a fan when they were in San Diego, and I never saw them out there, but I saw them at SoFi. Amazing stadium. Super new, super state-of-the-art. And then on Monday, I went to the Rangers-Devils game, and I saw the Rangers win.
Big sporting event.
So 2-0 on back-to-back days, one on each coast. It's pretty good.
So you're telling me SoFi better than MetLife?
Ooh.
The basic cookie cutter MetLife.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I almost forgot to mention, I also went to Pauley Pavilion, UCLA's stadium, which was absolutely amazing. It was, even though it was like it is an old stadium, it felt super new, and it just felt iconic.
It's on their campus, right?
Yeah, it's right.
Who'd they play?
They played Denver.
Nice.
Actually, they were 8-2. In the first half, it was a pretty good game. It was close, but then UCLA came out in the second half and just blew them out the water. It was so cool, man. They have so many banners in their rafters.
They won a lot of
It's
championships.
super
you
nice.
know.
Wish we had that.
Craig, what'd you have going on?
Well, I don't know. I can top Nick flying coast to coast, watching teams win left and right. I had a good weekend. I went to the King Tut immersive experience in the city, which was pretty cool. It was cool. You know, it's different. It was cool to see. That was pretty much it. Other than that, just home.
All right, fair enough. I got finals going on at law school, so nothing fun for me. All right, so my question for you guys this week is this. Of all of the fantasy series out there, so I'm talking like Star Wars, The Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter type movies, Marvel, things like that, of that nature, which is your favorite series and which one is your single favorite movie? It doesn't have to be in the same series that you enjoy the most. Just your single favorite movie of all of the fantasy genres, the big fantasy series. Has to be a series. Your single favorite movie, and then also your favorite series. But I'm doing it based off the movies, not the books. Because books tend to be different. Obviously, Lord of the Rings has way less books than Harry Potter. Star Wars doesn't even have books. I know they came out with them afterwards.
So basically, nerd out is what you're trying to say.
Nerd out. I'm trying to nerd us out a little bit,
Okay.
All right.
Cool. I'll go.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
take it.
Yeah. So for series, I would have to go Star Wars.
Okay.
4, 5, and 6 have a lot of special memories. I remember my mother got me into them. She would always have them on VHS. We'd watch them together. So it's a special memory.
Not to mention they're some of the most incredible movies of all time.
Well,
4,
yes,
5, and 6.
yes.
So.
But
Very true.
It's also like growing up, having that part of my family where my mom would watch it with me, and my dad refused to watch it ever. So I always found that funny on top of that. For my favorite movie, Dark Knight.
Wow, good one. Good
Wow.
choice.
Okay.
Dark Knight is a spectacular, maybe perhaps the best superhero movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, I love Christopher Nolan. Memento is one of my favorite films.
Yeah, Memento's really good.
Which, if you watch Batman Begins on TV, it will say Christopher Nolan director Memento. And that's the last time they'll ever say Christopher Nolan director Memento.
Right, because he did The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is a spectacular movie.
I remember seeing that in movie theaters.
And-
Back-to-back nights.
I mean,
Yeah, we saw an opening where a guy dressed as the Joker walked out front and started acting like he was part of the team that worked there at AMC.
Yeah.
And we all like, yeah. And then the real people walked up and were like, oh, that guy just sat back down.
He was just some guy.
He was just some random guy that was full Joker gear.
So, first of all, Star Wars, absolutely incredible series. They've done a great job with the new stuff. In my personal opinion, like the the Bad Batch series, which is kind of is a cartoon. They did that off of the Clone Wars series, which is also a cartoon, but
Stealing my thunder, Vincent.
spectacularly great. Well, all right, Craig, what do you got for
Well,
us?
I was gonna go Star Wars too, and
That's cool.
part of it was because this is why it was super nerd out. The Clone Wars animated series really fills in the gap between the second movie and the third movie, and gives a whole new meaning to the world. Changes how the prequels are seen. If you like Star Wars and you haven't watched Clone Wars, this is your PSA to go do that, because it changes everything about Star Wars, and you will love it so much more.
And Mandalorian.
And all the other shows. I mean, I like them all. So the Mandalorian was great. I thought.
I think
Oh
the-
no, I was saying Clone Wars.
Oh, you're right.
affects Mandalorian.
You're right. The
Well,
Clone
it
Wars
helps.
helps everything in the Star Wars
What I
universe.
think it
gives
does-
so much backstory.
100%. It gives you that character building that they can't necessarily fit in the movie,
Absolutely.
and they do it so well, even though it's cartoons. And once you can get past
You
watching
get used to it
cartoon,
pretty soon, pretty easily.
it literally gives so much depth to the characters that it even enhances an already great series. Nick, what do you got?
Wait, no, hold on.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
done.
Craig has picked his favorite movie. Sorry.
Yeah.
And one more thing about Star Wars, just if you have watched Star Wars, I suggest trying the 4. Watch the movies in this order: 4,
4, which
Fi-
is A New Hope, which is
4,
actually
which is
the
A New
first one to
Hope.
ever come out.
then 5, which is Empire Strikes Back. Then watch at the end of that. Well, I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but if you haven't seen Star Wars at this point, it's too late. At the end of 5, you find out that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker. Then go back and watch the prequels. Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. That gives you the background story of Anakin, and then watch 6. I can tell you that 6th, Return of the Jedi in 6 is a completely different movie if you just watched 1, 2, 3. It feels so much different and so much more meaningful. So
Craig, like the Godfather watch, you gotta. They do that on AMC sometimes, where they've taken essentially the Godfather and they've separated 2 out, and they've put it now where you're watching it from the beginning. That's what Craig's basically selling you.
no,
on right
mine's
there.
mine's not in chronological.
Well, I know he's not
Mine's
chronological.
actually as like a flashback. So it's like you hit the thing, flashback, see all of Anakin, and then see the payoff in 6. I'm telling you,
That's interesting.
watch it. It's the best way to watch it. Not the first time, but anytime after, the best time.
Fascinating.
So my movie, and this is a little biased to, again, seeing it in theaters. I think Tim, like Avengers Endgame, which is probably the greatest in theater movie experience I've ever had at a movie
For sure.
in my
Yeah.
life.
For sure.
We
Yeah.
saw it opening weekend, and people were cheering like we were at a St. John's game, and it was so epic. And
it was
spectacular.
The only time I was okay with people cheering
Absolutely.
in a movie theater.
Absolutely.
100%.
It just felt right. It felt right.
It
There were-
felt right.
And
Absolutely.
you're 100% on the head there, Nick, because like you can't, like normally I'm like, no, like you're watching a movie, you don't need to react to it. It was just so natural, the reaction here. Like it wasn't even like
genuine,
forced,
just genuine.
and it was just like genuine fans being excited about what was going on. It was such an incredible experience. I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember
I
I remember it
obviously
vividly.
vividly.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget that. Honestly,
That
it was
was
the best
I
movie.
remember.
in
I also
theater I've
remember
ever had.
when when those tickets went on sales. Right.
Yeah.
It was first of all, it was like the biggest movie to come out. And this was pre-COVID, so everybody was like still going to the movies. And literally, we were all waiting for tickets, and then for some reason, I was in my office, and everybody crashed. Not Ticketmaster, AMC,
Yeah.
or Fandango, whatever, crashed.
Classic.
But for some reason, mine didn't, which is how we got those tickets.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yep.
like, they were like, oh, I can't. I was like, I'm right here. Like, what day are we going? And they're like, I forget what day it came out. It came out on Thursday, I'm sure it came out on probably.
I
yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Or maybe it was Saturday. I don't remember. But
it
I was
came out at least Friday.
It was,
At
it, was
least
a, it was
Friday.
a Thursday.
What I think was So I was like, cool. What time do we want? We want midnight or 12:15? We're like, no problem. Picked our seats right in the best seat. That was great. I don't know how that happened. So shout out to the internet in New York City. But that was a great time. Nick, what do you got for us? Series and movie.
All right, so I'm not gonna go with Star Wars. I do love Star Wars. You guys also pick Star Wars, so I'm not gonna go. We're not gonna go.
All right, decent branch
Yeah.
out.
I'm gonna go with Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings
Love the
series.
Lord of the Rings.
I think it's the most like it builds each. I mean, even Star Wars builds, but like the original ones are the best ones, and the first one is a standalone movie, and then the next one adds on to that, and it continues the story. But like, I feel like the story chain is just better in Lord of the Rings.
It's interesting.
Better than
Did you
It's
get
all
frus-
one-
Did you
it's
get
all-
frustrated with Hobbit being 3 films?
of
So
course.
I'm gonna go. I'm actually didn't see The Hobbit, So I'm gonna say the first three, the original
The
three
original
series.
three.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I think that I would count them as different series. Because with all due respect, The Hobbit didn't need to be 3 movies. It should have been 1 movie, which would have been perfectly fine. But they are, I think they're different because they don't actually, as much as they have some of the same characters, although Legolas is in the movie and he shouldn't be. They don't really deal with each other in real life.
Yeah.
Well, I never saw it, so that's why I'm going with
In
it.
real life, and by
Just
real life
those
I mean the
original
book
3 ones.
because that's.
And the third one is just so epic by the end.
What
of
is
it. It's
your
just mainly
favorite
fighting.
Lord of the
single
Rings is
movie?
great, yeah.
Favorite single
So
movie.
my
now.
single movie, I am gonna go a little different on this one too. I'm gonna go with the first movie of the Chronicles of Narnia.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah, Lion, the Witch,
Wow.
and the Wardrobe.
Wow.
That I remember. That was
Talk about an underdog.
I was probably like 9 or 10 when that came out, and I was like, I don't know. It was just like it was cool going into I don't know you go into the wardrobe and you spend all this time and then you come out and it's only been like a couple hours.
Yeah.
And it's like they live their whole lives
That
in
is
this fantasy
fascinating.
lands that was just, and you know what I mean?
I did love those books.
Yeah.
I did.
They
I never
did.
read the books.
Yeah, the Chronicles of Narnia
they were
were
good
cool.
books.
They were.
Is this so? I can't remember if it's real or if it's fan fiction, like conspiracy that they actually died during the bombing
The
by
bombing in
Germans.
England.
It's fan
I think
fiction.
that's fan fiction.
Okay.
It's not real life.
That's not a canon, as they would say.
By the way, you can tell how nerdy we are. For God's sakes, we're talking about we know in depth the fan fiction of the Lion, the
you
Witch, and the
said you were
Wardrobe.
letting us nerd out, so
Hey, listen, I'm the one who started the conversation. So for me, it's funny. I very divided. I love them all. They all have a very special place for me. I have to say though that I believe my favorite series is Harry Potter. It just is such a
Yeah.
it is. First of all, there's way more of them. There's 7 of them, so it's a very long and very committed one.
8 movies.
8 movies, right? 7 books. My wife loves them too. We're very much we enjoy it. We enjoy always having them on. We have plates that are Harry Potter, but we also have plates that are Star Wars. So that we eat dinner on regularly. Harry Potter decorations, and we go to Universal. We go to the Harry Potter land. We went to London. We saw the actual studios where they shot it.
I remember when we went to the movies when those movies would come out.
Yeah.
They used to come out right around my birthday, in like November 14th,
Right,
15th. We would always go to like the midnight show.
It's-
of
I mean,
whatever movie
it
it
was-
was a pretty epic cultural
when
phenomenon.
Harry Potter like took over, it was the first, I would say, fantasy movie that like caught mainstream, right? Like that was the one where like the people had lines at Barnes and Noble for
Yeah.
kids. It's because what they did was they did a smart job of selling it to kids at first, and the books aged with the kids. So like if you were reading the books, they got darker and darker. I don't think they did as good a job with the movies. I think they went too soft on the movies to keep what they thought was a child ideal movie. When in retrospect, by the time the 8th and 7th and 8th movies came out, the kids that had started Harry Potter were old enough where that movie could have been a real PG-13 movie, like a legitimate.
It's pretty
It's
dark.
pretty dark. It has death in it. and
I'm just
stuff like
I'm
that.
just telling you. I think they could have gone more true to the book. So anyway, I love the series though. I think it's one of the all-time great series. My single favorite movie though of all of the in all of the fantasy worlds, I think it is probably
Transformers.
definitely well, maybe drunk Vincent. No, see, I battle a lot. The first Harry Potter is there, but that's my series, so I don't know though. That one's up there. I think it's actually probably Two Towers, which is the second Lord of the Rings, would be my favorite fantasy movie of all time, just because the battle at Helm's Deep is so incredibly epic and spectacular that I just every time it gets me every time.
Battle of Helm's Deep is very cool.
It is
Yeah.
Imagine you came here looking for basketball and you're going to talk about the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Well, you know what? That's why people listen to us. We're a fun time.
Hey, it's
If
better
you want to
than-
listen to some basketball nerds, you come here. You know why? Because we love basketball and we're nerds. All right, let's get into some St. John's basketball though. Big week. You know why it's a big week? It's a great week. I shouldn't say big week. It is a great week. Perhaps the most spectacular week of the year. You know why, Tim? Tim, as you stare into my eyes, I'll tell you why. It's because St. John's is #1 in the Big East right now, okay? First place, baby. The first place St. John's Red Storm. Now, listen, it doesn't matter that nobody else has played a conference game, okay?
DePaul did.
Don't let the haters tell you that. Exactly. There is one other team. It was DePaul. and we beat them 86-67. It was a win for St. John's. Puts us in first place, obviously. One conference win. We did cover, which is always fun to see. Appreciate the cover for St. John's for our gambling friends. Overall, it was the most complete game I think we've had this year. 51% from the field, 28% from three, 79% from the line. Absolutely spectacular. Out rebound them by 10, 45-35. Turnovers, not as high as I would have liked. Only 14 turnovers for DePaul, 12 turnovers by St. John's. But every starter was in double digits. Soriano led the way, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 7 of 8 from the free throw line, by the way. That's what you love to see from your big man. Curbelo, 15 points, 5 assists, 3 steals. Another great game for him. Posh Alexander doing his thing, 13 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 steals. God, I love Posh Alexander. Montez Mathis also had 10 points. And David Jones, against his former team, coming up big. 11 points, 8 rebounds. A little revenge game for him. A little bit of, I got to show up a little bit because I left these guys. They certainly weren't happy about it.
Yeah, pregame, you heard?
Mm-hmm.
Pregame, he went over to say hello to a couple of guys, and they just stonewalled him. Wouldn't talk to him.
Really?
And he was like, okay, all right.
Well, he
didn't know that.
dropped 11, dropped 11 on him, and
we stonewalled their offense.
absolutely,
Mhm, yeah.
absolutely. He understandably for him it was a big game. He didn't have his best game, but it's still 11 points, 8 rebounds, two rebounds away from a double-double.
Got a block.
He had a good night. And you know what? When we have 5 guys, our 5 starters in double digits, we're going to be hard to beat.
I think, to your point, I think we played our most complete game of the year. We all know we've had very slow starts to begin games. We were laser focused in this game. We came out right away. I think it was a 12-0 run, 10-0 run to start the game, and we were ahead early, and we hammered them early and often, and we just were in cruise control for the majority of the game, and we were flying all over the place, and just a great, complete performance against, a Big East team, and that's what you like to see. That's where you want to be. Posh had no turnovers in this game, which was great to see.
Good to see him turn that around.
Absolutely. So, all around, just a great night, a great start to the Big East season for us at Carnesecca.
Yeah, we also didn't play down to talent. We didn't play to what the other team was wanting to play in the first half. We had our foot on the gas the whole time, pushed down. We weren't committing bad fouls. We did have some turnovers, but nothing that was
it was
a trouble.
12
for
is
us.
fine. 12 turnovers
12 is
is
fine.
about average.
For a offense that runs that fast, 12 is going to be a normal thing. But Mr. Double-Double, Joel Soriano, 17-14, 2 blocks, 0 turnovers.
Great night.
Yeah.
1 personal foul. That's it. 1 personal foul.
Oh, the 7 of 9. 7 of 8 from the free throw line.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean, he had a very good year last year. The previous years at Forum, I think he was around 60% free throw shooter. And then this year he's been shooting around about 63. But this is, if you look at his form, you watch him shoot his free throws, his percentage does not match his form. So I think that's a sign for going into Big East play, further down along Big East play, that Soriano is going to be shooting a better free throw percentage than he did in out of conference.
That'd
Yeah.
be great because he's gonna get fouled a lot, right? In the Big
Yeah.
East, we know he's
Yeah.
getting fouled a lot. If he can go 7 of 9 or 7 of 8 on most nights,
Yeah.
we can be in good shape.
Hey, if he keeps this up, not only will he be a first Big East, he'll also possibly get the opportunity to win Big East Player of the Year. And because his stats have improved so much from last year, where he was averaging, I think it was just under 8 and 8, most improved.
Good. I can see it. This week he was
yeah.
on the weekly honor roll this week
He was dominant
because of his
against
game
DePaul.
mainly against DePaul.
I mean, they were actually triple. There were times where he would triple teams in the paint, and he would just get the ball and he'd still find a way to score. I mean, it was a dominant performance, and he killed it.
Also to mention, Curbelo had a real bounce back performance after the terrible performance he had at Iowa State. He looked like the normal him on defense. He had 5 assists, shot 7 from 9 from the field. He had a 3, 15 points. He did have 4 fouls, which he keeps getting in foul trouble in a couple of games, which he does have to worry about. But I guess that's kind of a product of always trying to steal the ball.
I mean, he plays aggressively.
You know what I mean?
So I mean, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
It is really, but it's the nature of the beast for him, right? I mean, it's tough to see because you're right. You don't want him to miss minutes, but he's going to have to limit that because the Big East teams are going to exploit that. And even though DePaul is a Big East team, we see it start to happen a little bit here against teams like Xavier and Creighton and UConn. They're teams that are going to let him foul them.
Yeah,
and let him get himself in trouble.
And we want him on the court.
Yeah,
right.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
the problem is
Exactly.
if he's in foul trouble, he can't be as effective. He can't do what he needs to do. But he was able to do what he wanted to do against DePaul.
We also have to mention Montez Mathis had an absolutely stellar second half before he went out limping off with an injury. Before that, he went 3 from 3 from the field and went 2 from 3. He came out and really pushed us in that second half to really make sure that we stayed ahead of them the whole time and stayed in control.
Mathis has really improved his 3-point shooting a lot this year. So that's big for us.
Certainly helped give us a fire there to start the second half. 2 big guys off the bench though that we certainly need to talk about was Pinzone, 9 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for him, and Wusu, 6 points, 5 rebounds. It's Pinzone got a lot of minutes in this game, and that's really good. Those are things, we're going to get a lot of guys in our rotation. We know that, but you never know how many minutes they're going to get. Pinzone seemingly absolutely the 6th man so far. He's going to get the most minutes, and you give him an opportunity like this to get 22 minutes, he's gonna pay it off, which is great to see. So for DePaul, it was really 2 guys actually off the bench for them, Cruz and Nelson, who led the way with 13 and 14 points respectively. Listen, is it the best Big East team? No, it's certainly not. But it's a Big East win. And, it starts us off with a conference win in the right direction. And I think overall, completely the best complete game we've played so far and a great way to start off our conference play.
Hey, a 19-point win. Can't ask for much more in your first game.
Absolutely. Well, we had another win on Saturday as we beat New Hampshire 64-51. We didn't cover this one. And to tell you the truth, at times this was scary. New Hampshire played a great game, and we did not play our best. 35% from the field, 25% from 3, 71% from the free throw line, still good. We still won the rebound battle, but only 49-41. We need that number to be bigger against a team like New Hampshire for sure. We only won the turnover battle 14-13 too. That's not good numbers for us. New Hampshire's a team we really need to out-rebound and really need to turn over because they're a team that really isn't in the same category as us. They had the same number of steals with us, which is really concerning. They had 8 steals. We had 8 steals. Now, Mathis did get hurt in that game against DePaul, so he didn't start this game. He didn't play this game. Instead, it was Jones, Pinzone got the start, Soriano, Corbella, and Alexander. Jones led the way, bounced back from that, playing his former team to having a real great game, double-double, 20 points, 12 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 blocks, absolutely the all-star of the game. Kept us in it, kept us in charge. Soriano, 14 points, 14 rebounds, a double-double once again.
Mr. Double-Double.
Absolutely. The scary part here is that besides that, it was quiet. Posh had 2 points, Pinzone had 3 points, Corbella had 5 points. Fortunately, AJ Storr, working hard off the bench, 13 points for him, 4 rebounds as well. Wusu also had a decent day, 7 points. It got scary at times, though. They had 3 of their starters in double digits. That's more starters than we had in double digits. And they played us tight, very tight, so tight that they had a lead in the second half at one point.
Yeah, this really felt like a trap game, considering that we already started our Big East play. We were juiced up for all that. We're looking forward to Florida State next. And we were thinking, it's New Hampshire. We're going to be all right, especially after the win. I don't know. Maybe we got caught a little bit, just lacking a little bit.
I think that's what happened. We didn't play a great game. You'd like to see us follow the DePaul win with another stellar performance. And look, we won by 13, but it was certainly, if you watched it, it was nerve-wracking at times. They were up in the second half, as Vincent said, only up 3 at the half. Posh was 0 for 8 from the field.
Rough day for him.
Corbella was 2 for 9. Those are not, when those 2 guys are not shooting well or scoring, we got some trouble. But I think we got to give a massive shout out to AJ Storr, who had just a phenomenal game and gave you flashes of how he can be for us going forward. I mean, he was deadly from 3, making moves, making plays, 13 points.
3 from 4. From
3
3.
and it was electric. So that is the big takeaway I'm going to take away from this game. I'm going to, we're going
Stay positive.
Count a W, count a win.
A win is a win
AJ
is a
Storr
win.
moving forward, like if this can be a jumping off point for him, that would be a huge benefit.
I think it has to be, and I think we as a team need to do a better job at making sure he gets minutes. I think in Big East play, he's a guy who could really help us. Obviously, Pinzone is going to be our 6th man. AJ Storr needs to be a very close 7th man.
Yeah, I agree.
And if that's our 7 guys that are and Wusu going to be our 8th guy.
He played well this game.
He
too.
played well. This game
He had a
too.
good game too.
Hey, listen, if we can keep that 8-man rotation, and then obviously we're getting Stanley's coming in too. He's gonna be our 9th guy, right? If we can keep that 9 rotation, and we're getting things from different people in different games, I think we put together a deadly combination. But it's a matter of all of us coming together at the same time, and certainly that didn't happen against New Hampshire. People were firing on different cylinders, and it allowed them to stick around in the game. Now listen, at the end of the day, it's a 13-point win.
Yeah.
So, but it's certainly scary in the second half there, and closer than it needed to be.
Yeah, with just under 7 minutes to go in that game, we were only up 4. And then Jones really just smashed the pedal and
He did.
really started to score. And then Storr hit his threes, and I think Soriano got a dunk. 13 points does not describe the failure of not falling for a trap game. Now, successfully, we did not technically fall for it,
Right.
but offensively, we fell for it.
This did have the making of the classic trap game. You come off a win against DePaul, first conference win. You're feeling good about yourself. It's only New Hampshire. You're looking ahead. You got Villanova, who just got some guys back. All of a sudden, they're not going to be that Villanova team that was losing to bad teams at the beginning of the year. It seems like a typical game St. John's would have stumbled in the past, and once again, we see that doesn't happen here. And I think that's a testament to Mike Anderson to get these guys back on track when things get bad in bad situations. And listen, we came away with the W. So at the end of the day, 10-1 heading into.
Vincent skipped through New Hampshire and Florida State. Didn't even talk about Florida State. You go right to Villanova.
Listen, you know why?
We're talking about we're talking about Big East. He was talking about Big East.
I was talking about Big East.
I know, but you said you said
come on, Florida State 2-9. With all due respect,
you just said they're feeling good about the conference, and they got New Hampshire, and then they're looking ahead to Villanova. You just blew right by Florida State.
Maybe that's the trap
Hey,
game.
to be honest,
anyone-
I don't blame you. Florida State's terrible.
if anyone's looking ahead to the Florida State game, they're making a mistake. All right, we'll get to that game.
We are going to look ahead to the Florida State game soon.
Yeah.
Well, that's listen, it's a necessary evil to talk about that game. I think they in Big East play is what I'm trying to say.
I got you.
They're looking, they're thinking ahead to we're in Big East mode. We beat DePaul. Now we're, let's look ahead. Let's go to our next Big East game. But you do got to beat the New Hampshires of the world.
Yeah.
With as ugly as we looked in this game, I do want to say that we've always been known as a team that commits a lot of fouls. We foul everybody. We only had 4 fouls in this game. They shot 2 free throws.
Wow. You know what? Watching that, I didn't even realize
Every
that.
once in a while, we get some good refereeing. Unfortunately, it's against New Hampshire and not against UConn or Villanova. All right. Well, that did it for that week. A 2-0 week. Another 2-0 week puts us 10-1 on the season. Obviously, like I said before, first in the Big East Conference with a 1-0 record. As we begin to head into the deeper part of our season. However, first, we must discuss the spotlight player of this past week. I think this one is a little bit tougher than we've had in the past. Typically, we've had a guy who's had 2 great games. We didn't have that this week. We had
2 guys who had two great games this week.
well, separate games, but we didn't have any single player who had 2 great games.
So I think we're overlooking.
No, I
the
don't think we did.
I think we're overlooking the greatness of the man that is now known as Mr. Double Double. We're overlooking that he had
Yeah, that's
two
what I'm saying.
Double doubles.
two double doubles.
He and David Jones both had 2 double doubles.
David
David
Jones
Jones
did not.
didn't have
have
David
2
Jones did
double-doubles.
not.
Oh no, because he did.
Joel
he got
Soriano
8
did,
in the-
but I don't give him credit for having what he's supposed to have. He's at this point he's supposed to have a double double. You don't get extra bonus points for having a double double just because you have a double double. That's not how that works. He's expected to have that, so I'm not giving him extra credit.
So because it's in his name now, it's
Exactly.
fully expected.
Exactly. He really needs to dazzle me if he's gonna get extra credit points for getting a double double. It's all I'm saying.
My personal preference is going to say David Jones because he had a great game against New Hampshire, and even though he didn't have a spectacular game against DePaul, he beat the team he left. So I'm going to give him
I
the
would
spotlight
agree
because of that.
I would say David Jones should be the spotlight.
Not that Soriano didn't do a great job.
Tim thinks Soriano. Nick, what do you got? We got 2 David Jones votes. We got a Soriano vote. Nick, what do you got for us, pal?
The deciding 4th vote.
Well, or the tying vote.
Nothing like an even number to make it a tiebreaker.
Oh, we can flip a coin.
We'll go with penalty.
Who
kicks.
knows? Let's see what Nick's gonna say first.
I am gonna have to go with David Jones.
Wow.
I think
Loser, Tim.
I think David Jones was more.
Never a loser when you pick Joel Soriano.
No, I'm just saying.
I think David Jones was more electric, and I mean, to Vincent's point, Soriano, we're expecting him to always get a double-double, and when he does, it's the norm now. So he's got to really dazzle me.
I see. Nick's got it too.
I need a 20-point.
Listen, he's
or
great.
or a 15.
He's great,
20,
but at this point, it's the standard. It's the standard. You can't impress me with your petty 14 rebounds against DePaul. Okay? You hit 20 rebounds, then we'll talk, Joel. Then we'll talk.
Hey, man, you set the bar high. You still got to jump over it.
Exactly. All right, we've got our interview segment with former St. John's great and 1,500-point scorer DJ Kennedy.
All right, we are here with DJ Kennedy. Thanks, DJ, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No problem, man. It's a pleasure for having me, man.
Thanks for coming. We appreciate it. All right, so let's dive right into it. So I think the first question we need to ask is, what made you choose to come to St. John's for your basketball career?
It was really the staff. Like I really fell in love with the staff when they came and watched me and recruited me at the time, who was Norm Roberts, Coach Q, Fred Quarterbaum, and Glenn Breaker and Chris Casey. When I think they all came and recruited me, and I just thought they was very genuine, and I really fell in love with the staff the first time I met them, and I think once I got to met them and I came to St. John's, the campus, I just knew that I felt like this was the place for me.
Yeah, I mean, when you joined the team in, I think 07 was your first season, is that right?
Correct.
And that team was a big transition year for St. John's. I mean, prior to that, we had some trouble, and we were really trying to rebuild the team. So you were part of that team that really brought us back to national prominence. So you were an important piece of that team, obviously, and getting us back. I think it was great. I know you played with DeJuan Blair in college, and being from Pittsburgh, I know there was a lot of back. He went to Pittsburgh. I know you, being from Pittsburgh, that was probably a hometown pull there for you.
Yeah. We was we're close friends. We grew up in the same neighborhood, so we were like playing with each other basketball probably since like 5, 6. We were me, him, another guy, DeAndre Kane. We all went to the same high school, and we grew up with each other, just like close friends. So yeah, it was tough. Of course, I had a lot of attention, interest from Pitt at the time, but for me, it was more of a decision for me and my family. I just wanted to get away from home. I felt like being at Pitt, which was literally in my back door, I literally lived probably 2 minutes away from Pitt's campus. So it was like I was already at Pitt.
Right.
I used to play with the guys who was on the team, open gym. So for me, it was just more about I wanted to get away, just less distractions. Family. It's tough for a kid sometimes. Just going to the school that you grew up in. So for me, when I went to New York and seeing that it wasn't too far away, Big East, great opportunity, it was a no-brainer for me.
All right. So what was who was your best friend out of all the players you played with when you were at St. John's?
Probably Sean Evans and Paris Horn. I think we were just guys we were all like PA guys, and we came in at the same time. And I still throughout this day have especially Sean, man, we played on the same team overseas, so have a close bond with them. In Paris, I played TBT with. So it was 2 guys. I'm close with Burrell as well, but I think all 3 of them, probably more Sean, honestly.
More Sean. Nice. So is that team still close? I know for St. John's fans, that team was big for us. So are you guys still close today, like most of the team, or do you still talk to those guys at all?
Yeah, social media nowadays, you keep in touch with everyone just watching social media and things like that. So it's kind of easier to, keep tabs, and you don't have to really reach out too much. But I definitely try, like Burrell, here and there every summer. If we're not playing TBT, hit each other up and see what's next. Paris, I talk through out here and there. the white here and there, social media. Most guys is through social media, see what they doing and things like that. But I mean, I'm pretty much, we all still keep in touch in some way or some fashion, some form.
What was your favorite memory from playing at St. John's? What was maybe the best game or best moment that really stuck out to you in your playing career?
Me personally, for me, I would say senior year. It's either the Duke. For me personally, it was the Pitt game. I would say that just being me playing against, my hometown Pitt at the Gordon. I think they were ranked like top 5 at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
and just the way we won that game. I mean, a buzzer beater, the White. I mean, that's probably one of the most classic moments from St. John's, just from that rivalry in the Big East. So I think that definitely, man, the crowd was electric. Just beating that team and just seeing playing at the Garden against your hometown and finally winning. I think that was probably one of the best moments for me. Other than I'll say Duke as well at the Garden. Those
Yeah.
two moments is something that always, always bring back memories of that team.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That that month, I think you guys beat 3 top 10 teams in the Garden back to back games. It was Duke, UConn, and obviously the Pittsburgh game, which you talked about. And that Pittsburgh game is really at this point, one of the most iconic games in really the program over the last 25 years or something like that. I was there. I remember that game was insane. It's seared in my memory. You made some big plays down the end, which had to feel good against Pitt and against the guys you grew up against. That during that month, it had to be crazy. I mean, you guys went undefeated that month, and you had some really big wins. And the Garden was packed, like you said, and you guys were really on top of the world, really in New York. How did that feel?
It felt great for us because we knew how hard and how much time we had to put in. I think we came in with 8 or 9 freshmen, and we had our struggles throughout college. Has been that at that time the Big East, when we came in the Big East as freshmen, Big East was pretty for sure was the most dominant conference in all of basketball. Man, you talking about guys like Sam Young, just from Pitt team, Levance Fields. Like you go to Georgetown, you had who was there? It was so many good teams in the Big East. It was tough. So
Yeah.
us freshmen were finally us. We felt like we had our chance. We was the seniors, and we finally got some revenge from through all the struggles we had. So that month, it found like we really felt like what it paid off. We felt like it finally paid off, and we were a team. We just knew we were destined for to be good that year. With all seniors, the chemistry, new coach, we just was really clicking, and man, it was just a special group, a special moment.
So how was that transition between? I know Norm Roberts was the coaching staff that recruited you, and you guys developed over those years, and you played, the 3 years you were there prior. You guys had some success and you kind of grew year by year and got better and better as a team. And then Lavin came in for your senior year. So how was that change? What were some of the differences between working with Norm and working with Coach Lavin?
With Nora, I just think the foundation, it was pretty much already established. Like I think, I mean, I give a lot of credit to Steve Levin as well, but I think that everything was pretty much planned. I felt like we were destined to be good the following year. I
Right.
felt like we seen the potential. We knew how good we had, and I think Lev just brought a whole new feel for us, the Big East, and just the way he do things, and he just made it feel like we were a New York team. He just, the way he talks and everything, way he goes about things, and we finally felt that. I think I mean, once we start clicking in the Big East few wins, you could just see like the tension we were getting, and we felt like New York basketball, just from the fans selling out games. It seemed like the whole New York was behind us, and you could just feel it, man. With just Lab, he made sure that we lived in that moment, and that we didn't take it for granted. And I think that's what made that group so special.
Yeah, when we had the opportunity to talk to Mike Dunlap previously, and one of the things he did talk about you being one of the best players that he had on the team and having a toolbox, just a full toolbox of skills, but also being an elite rebounder, which he said ended up being one of those key things that set apart games at the end of games. What's something that you think you may have gained from your senior year around Coach Dunlap, who's with the Bucks now?
Oh man, I actually gained so much from Mike. I think he was a big part of me for as not really college, even after college, far as developing to be a pro. Like I remember, because for me it was a big transition from my junior year. Was like the guy, like new staff come in, and it goes like, far as from being a guy to like seeing different, like they're going a whole direction. But with Dunlap, just being able to be mentally, just talk me through things, and when he was really like a father figure in a way, just being that his approach. And man, he anyone you talk to about Dunlap, they just tell you the way he go about things. You learn so much. And for me, I just learned how to be a pro, be patient, a lot of ups and downs, but just stick with it. And I think that really helped me throughout my senior year when I felt like things weren't going my way, and just stay with it, stay consistent, and see the bigger picture as far as the group. And I think making those sacrifices just to make a better team, it really helped me develop as a person more than a player. And I give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, and talking about developing as a person as well, you went through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows your senior year, unfortunately, with the ACL injury. I know that's got to be tough going through the biggest tournament and then having that injury happen. What do you think going into your future that injury ended up doing for you?
Honestly, I think it just made me more determined, more hungry than I was. I already was. I felt like I worked hard, but it was a minor setback to me. That I mean, of course, when it happened, but I never got down on myself or negative. I always looked at, what's next? How do I go about this now? I had family, had great support in my corner, so I never, even though it was, to me, it was probably one of the worst moments there with anyone since just been at the time of the injury, or as the Big East tournament, and with the group we had, and knowing how special, and felt like I really could have helped that group just as far as the Big East and the tournament. I felt like we got a bad seed because of the injury too. Like I felt like we should have had a higher seed, and a lot goes into that. I was able to stay positive, just being now I was already looking. Once I got hurt, I mean, of course, a week or two you be down, but it was I was already looking forward to the next step, and I was already rehabbing. It was tough just seeing my guys getting ready, for what's next in their career, and I'm just sitting there rehabbing. But I stayed positive, and it worked out pretty well for me. Um, Actually, I guess the Knicks helped me out as well. They sent me to their D League team, let me do all my recovery and things like that. End up once I got healthy, joined the team, got called up, so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it definitely a tough end to that senior year, which was such a good year that you talked about, especially such a special group. It felt like a team of destiny. You guys, kind of ran through the season. And there were such great moments, and then for it to end in a game against Syracuse on such a freak play, it was a devastating day. I'm for sure for you more than anybody else, obviously, who wanted to be out there and do that thing. But I know across St. John's fans and the team, it was a devastating moment because we were winning that game against Syracuse, and we were gonna win. If if that didn't happen, we would have won that game. I could feel it. And you're right about the seed thing. We definitely got a bad seed because of that, which sucks because that team earned a top 4 seed. You guys were one of the one of the best teams in the country and should have got that recognition regardless. It was definitely a tough moment. And now you played obviously a lot of games at the Garden, a lot of games at Carnesecca. Which venue is your favorite to play at?
I mean, it's two different feelings. I think for us, I felt like the big games we wanted to play at the Garden. It's the Garden, It's the Mecca. Everyone.
Absolutely.
This is one of the reasons why I even chose St. John's. I got an opportunity to play at the Garden. It's not too many people get to play at Madison Square Garden, especially for all your home, for majority of your home games. So I think you can just feel it once you walk into the Garden. You plan on the court. It don't matter who we playing. It's just the whole atmosphere change. And in Carnesecca, it's more like that college. You feel like you got the advantage. You're at home. This is where you practice. You practice every day. So it was two different feelings. But I think they both, in their own right, was special for both of us. We like playing both. That national stage. You get a team like Duke or UConn or some at the Garden. There's no other place you want to play that at the Garden. Then you get, some of your rivalries in Big East, like a Providence or Seton Hall. Sometimes you rather play on campus just to get that advantage. So I think they both was pretty good for me.
Yeah, they definitely both serve their own purpose.
Yeah.
So like you said, they have advantages and disadvantages. But so what was your favorite road arena to play? Because there's a lot of Big East schools, and plus you played at a lot of obviously other arenas. What was the one you liked playing in the most?
I don't know if it was we played in the most, but the most favorite that I remember is Duke Cameron Indoor. Because as a kid you watch up C Cameron Indoor. And for you to actually play there and realize, because I never knew till we actually played there how small Cameron Indoor was. I mean, you see TV and you see all the like,
Mhm.
oh, this must be a big canvas, but you don't really feel, you don't really understand it until you're actually there. The fans are on the court 2 hours before the game, before you warming up. I mean, it's just electrifying just to play. I think that's one of the most favorable gyms that I think I played in college. Just being the atmosphere and how much tradition and everything that goes behind camera indoor with Coach K and the fans. I think that's definitely one of the most special places for me.
Yeah, definitely, and one of the most iconic and important venues in all of college basketball. So definitely a great choice, and obviously, the smallness is something I've heard. Obviously, I've never been there, but I can definitely see how that would be very different from when you're playing there for sure.
Yeah, it's like an advantage for them because it's like the fans are literally on the court on your back. You taking the ball out, you can feel the fans breathing on your neck. Like it's wild. They stand up pretty much the whole game. It's electrifying, and as a basketball player, that's one of the venues you dream of playing at.
So, was there a team specifically that you hated the most, or were always looking forward to on the
Uh,
schedule?
Seton Hall, just being at the time because we were like we were always neck to neck for us, just at the time for seedings or like we were always. So when we played Seton Hall, we had fights on the court. It was always a game we circle. We got to be Seton Hall. We want to see Seton Hall. So I definitely feel like at that time Seton Hall was probably the most team I disliked at the moment. And I felt like they felt we didn't like them and they didn't like us. I felt like that's how it was back in the Big East. The rivalries was real.
So now you've had a great post St. John's career. So let's talk about that a lot. You've played in a host of different countries. So what was your favorite country to play in, and your favorite team to play for since you've left St. John's and started your professional career?
My favorite experience probably was NBA, Cleveland, of course. Then it's the
Sure.
NBA. But as far as country and team overseas, I think my favorite country would have to be between Australia. Australia was pretty. I think that's one of my favorite countries. Being that I never knew how good Australia as a country was. I mean, you don't hear too much till I actually went over there and played and experienced in Melbourne and seen the people and the culture, everything. It was like shocking for me. Like, wow, this is this is
Yeah.
this is really nice. And the way they treat for as players, the venues, like it's very professional. So I think that's definitely something that stands out for me. Also, Israel was nice. I'm sure you hear a lot of players say Israel because it's great weather all year round, and people was nice. Great place to play. And my favorite place, I would say, probably Turkey as well. I did 3 years in Turkey and Izmir, Kenora Karşıyaka. The fans, I think, just the fans there was man. The fans bring so much enthusiasm to the games, and they're always by your side. They're screaming like they have one of the best fans supports in I think all of Europe. So I think that was another great place that I really enjoyed.
Which one of those countries had the best food?
Best food? Hmm.
Important. That's an important topic because if the food's not good,
Yeah.
you're gonna struggle.
I've been blessed to be in some places with good food. Israel had great food, and Turkey was pretty good too. So maybe Israel. If I had to
Israel.
say, I would say Israel because they had the whole Shabbat thing, the tradition thing. So
Mhm.
it's like it's always about food. Every time it's always holidays. So I would say probably Israel.
You talked about playing for the Cavaliers. So what was that experience like? I mean, you played there for a little while. How was playing in the NBA, and what was that like?
I mean, it was a dream come true. Just especially as a kid, that's something you always look forward to, and then you never know if it's going to happen. Not too many people get to experience that. And then the route I had to go, like you said, I had to go through injury, come back off injury, and still be able to get in there. I think that was a special moment for me. And just, I mean, I didn't realize it. Sometimes you just live in the moment when you're actually doing it. So, it was definitely just to be around guys like, Kyrie, a lot of different pros at the time, and you just see how their career shape out and just to be a part of that. So I think that definitely was a great experience for me.
Yeah, it's weird when whenever you think there's a Johnny in the market to play be in the G League with Cleveland, there's always an opportunity that fits their position. And it seems to be a struggle to get you guys in there. It happened with you. It happened with Sir Don Pointer. It's weird sometimes how it works out that way.
I think it's just more about the timing and opportunity. Like sometimes the timing don't be right for the opportunity, but with Cleveland, you just see the different at the time. Like they was rebuilding everything. Then LeBron just pops back up. So it's just you just never know. You got to be lucky. Honestly, it's got a lot of luck, a lot to do with luck as well.
So you played in the Ukraine. What was it? Two years ago, I guess, at this point, or
last year.
Last year. So how was that? You're playing with D'Angelo, and you were also playing with Sean Evans, on that team. So, and then you had the war that started in the middle. So how was that whole experience? Playing there and playing with those guys.
Man, it was great. It probably, as far as my experience overseas, as far as like camaraderie and chemistry, as far as a team, I think that was the best team I've been a part of. As far as my professional career, just a lot to do with it's three Johnny guys who already basically know each other, so it made it easier for me. Then we just had other guys who really, just clicked in as well with DJ Steffens and even the Ukrainians. Like it was probably one of the best far as groups that I've been a part of, and that translated to on the court, which made us so good on the court. And it's just it's sad to even see that we had such a special group and we were destined to win. And something unfortunate like a war happens and it just really messed up our whole season. So it was tough, man, because I really felt like that group we were bound to win. We were undefeated in the Ukrainian league, and then we were top 16 in Champions League, or we were headed to the top 16. So or we were headed to the top 8. We just made top 16, and they had to stop it. We had to switch. But I mean, as far as the people in Ukraine, the situation was weird for us because we would hear it back home all the time, like, "Hey, you need to really get out." They're saying this and that. But the people there, they've been dealing with that for years. So it was nothing new for them. And like we've been going, we've been hearing this for years. You always say this. We've been going to war. So it was just, we're caught up in the middle, like what's true and what's not. And I think once the U.S. Embassy we had got the call like, hey, any Americans, you probably need to get out now.
Right.
I think that's when we took it to the president and the team, and they did a great job of just really listening to us and worried about our safety and concerns and got us out before anything really happened. Then that's when we went to like Czech Republic just to wait and see how things played out, and then things eventually got worse, so it kind of stopped everything. It was like, I mean, it's a spirit you just didn't know what happened. It was like, hey, we can't. You're on your own. Well, yeah, figure out how you're gonna get home, and what we're like, as a pro, you don't think something like that can happen, but
right.
It's just a very unfortunate situation. Like I don't think no one knew really what was going to happen for us with the war, and so we did what we was able. They helped us as much as they can, and we was able to get out of there, and was safe. So I think that was the biggest thing.
We're glad you're home and that everything worked out well. And fortunately, your season came to an end before you really wanted it to, which unfortunately happened to you now twice with that in 2011. So, but
it happened 3 times for me because
really
Turkey, and that was another year. I probably should have 2 more championships if COVID. We was going to the Final Four and COVID stopped it, and we had to stop then. And it was so, yeah. I haven't really caught a break with.
For real.
It's been pretty good.
It's like something's against you right now. There's a couple things, right? It's like,
Yeah,
what's going
it
on?
seemed like, and every time I have a good group or I feel like this is going to win it, something like this happens. So just unfortunate, but it's part of it, I guess.
So maybe set up with a little worse group so we don't have these kind of ending things because we can't have another global pandemic or war. So no pressure or anything, but
Yeah, hopefully we good this year, man. So most important, everybody's safe. So I think that's cool.
So, and also talking about your post career, I think we got to talk about the TBT team. You were on that overseas elite team that when it started the TBT, that was really dominant, won a bunch of championships in a row. So, how did that team come together? Can you talk to us a little bit about the TBT in general?
Yeah, so overseas elite. The team came together. As far as me, I didn't really know too much about the team. I was actually I was in summer league at the time. When I first heard about it, Paris had hit me like, "Yo, bro, they doing this tournament, $1 million." I'm like, I'm in summer league. I don't know. I mean, I gotta see how summer league goes. And then I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do it. I was playing a lot in summer league, and I was focused on that at the moment. So I was like, I don't know, bro. I'll let you know after summer league. Then he wrote me like, "Hey, we got a game here." I'm not sure where was the first place we played, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. $1 million. I didn't know who really was on the team at the moment, but I know like the first week they barely had. The first week they barely had enough players. He was like, if we get through this, we only got 4 or 5 games left for $1 million. I'm like, all right, let me know how it goes, and I'll join it. And
Right.
he called me like, oh, we won the first round. We got. I'm like, 4 games for $1 million. Like, okay, why not?
Why not? Right? Yeah.
So yeah, I know they barely had 5 players in the first because everybody was probably. I think someone showed up like 5 minutes before the game, and they ended up winning. So the next round, I had met them somewhere. In the first game we played, and I'm like, wow, this is for $1 million. Like, no disrespect to the guys, but at the time the competition wasn't that great. It was a bunch of guys who probably just not really playing overseas or who played at home or street ball. And it's like, if this is what we got to play, this is gonna be it. Me easy $1 million. We had a bunch of guys who were playing professional overseas, knew how to play, the right way. So I was like, after the first game, I actually realized like this is possible. Like I see this is possible to win $1 million.
Right.
And then so I think after that first year, and we actually did win it. You see the chat, I was like, man, I can't believe they even have a tournament like this. Like I
Right.
was still in shock that there was, it was the first time I seen something like that, especially in the summer, for $1 million. And I think after that first year, it just got more exposure and we got better as far as we bought Burrell the following year and we got better and we won it again. So it was like, something you don't realize it took because you're in the moment and you just keep doing it once, twice. It's like, man, like this is then they raised it to $2 million. We wanted that. It's like, man, this is becoming like a summer, like a summer job. So it was. I don't think we realized how special it was because we were just living in the moment. Like we
Right.
just,
Yeah.
and the more and more pressure got, it felt like the more we wanted to play. Like I was like, oh, there's no way they're gonna win it again. So I think we really look forward to that. I think we look more forward to that. The group we had, that's what made it more special. That guys ain't. Of course, we cared about the money, but we wanted to just keep proving people wrong. Like,
Right.
okay, they're gonna lose this, and we just had a special group, special bond, man. It's probably one of the best teams I've ever been a part of. Just being that people realize like it's so much work that people put into TBT for its practices and that when I told people that we never practiced, we didn't have time to practice. A
Right.
lot of guys is with their family coming back from overseas. No one wants to get together for 2 weeks and practice, especially when you only have less than a month and a half to be home before you got to go back overseas. So we will literally meet the day before the game or the day of the game and just go play.
Wow.
And it just shows you that how special that group was for us just to figure it out on the fly, just be pros and be able to win that many games. It's a single elimination. So I think that's definitely something was been a part of me and part of everyone who was part of that overseas elite team. That was just a special group.
Yeah, I mean, you guys won 4 TBT championships in a row from 2015 to 2018, and you were twice the MVP of the tournament. So obviously, it was a huge, you guys dominated. I mean, you really dominated TBT in the early part of the tournament. What you said, it's gotten bigger and bigger every year. It's really grown into a huge event now, which is great. It's a very cool thing and cool to see. And really, you guys were dominant.
Yeah, I mean, man, just to be a part of that, win 4 straight. I think that I don't know if that ever be done in a tournament like that again, especially single elimination. It's very tough,
Right.
You got to play pretty good every game. So I think that's something feel special about, and I'm glad to be a part of that, history.
Yeah, I mean, to never lose any of those games, like you said, it's a single elimination, and to win 4 straight and really not really practice is unbelievable, actually.
Yeah, that's why I still don't believe it at times. Like, man, like we were so good with one another. We could argue, be about the fight, go back out on the court, act like nothing happened, and just play. Like we were just, pros, real pros, and guys who just had high IQs and knew how to play the game.
Yeah, D'Angelo told us that you got tattoos of the championship years for the TBT.
Yeah.
He couldn't answer us. Is that above the knee you blew out your ACL?
Yes.
Is
Correct.
that connected?
Yeah, definitely. It had a lot to do with that. I knew after the last one, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and if we get this one, I'm gonna go ahead and get it. So yeah, it was big for me to get that. I'm sure I get more, just as life goes on and more stories to write, stuff like that.
Well, you still have more room than D'Angelo does, so you have more options.
I don't even think he has any more room. He's finding room. He's going over tattoos. He got too many tattoos, but it's something that you get to express and things you get to go back and you look at. And it takes you to a moment in life or a time, and you could think about that. Like, I remember that time when I got that tattoo or this things like that.
So what was your best professional basketball memory so far?
I have so many.
No pressure.
Of course, TBT, because just being that the amount of money and the prize and how special that was. But I think, of course, Cleveland. I think my first game playing in the NBA. I think that was very a special moment for me.
Absolutely.
What else? Pros overseas. So many. I think those are some that stand out. Of course, there's other times the pros, one overseas, one on different teams. But I think those for me personally stand out the most.
So who's the toughest player ever played against? Professional, college, that you're like, damn, this guy is cooking today.
In college, I would have to say, like I said, my freshman year, I was going against guys like Sam Young, Patrick Ewing Jr. Like, it was so many pros. So I would say, but I think for as my class or someone I really respect and just seeing the transformation was Marshawn Brooks at Providence.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the harder, as far as college, he was one of the toughest players I played against. And that I seen him his first year, and I was like, okay, he's all right. And then next year we played, and it was like, this guy's a pro. It was like day and night. He got so much better. And just to still play against him I see him overseas and see the career he's having. Like, he's probably one of the best scorers I ever played with college. In college, I would say him and another guy, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler at Marquette, the transition he had from like his junior to his senior year was like, it was crazy. Like, I didn't even think, you knew he was like a hardworking blue guy, but just to see him develop, he was Marquette's one of their premier players as far as his senior year, and just you see how he is now. So I think those two was two players that, as far as the college level, that I really respected, and it was tough.
All right, so now on the flip side of that, was there a guy in college you're like, this guy can't guard me? If I get the ball, just give me the ball. I can get past him every time.
There's a lot of guys like that.
There was a lot of guys like that for sure.
Especially the little guys. Like, sometimes it felt like about time my junior, senior year, when I felt like I developed into my body, it was like, if he's too small, there's no way he could guard me. So I think, there's not one that really stands out.
One that stands out. So what's the best piece of advice you ever got from a coach or another player? Best piece of advice was I didn't have so many great coaches and advice, like guys I still continue to talk to, like Steve Lavin, Mike Dunlap, who
always, every time he talks, his advice. It's so many guys. I'm trying to think player wise. I mean, I've been around a lot of vets as well. I think as far as in even NBA, just doing camps. Was it Vince Carter or something? I'm not sure which vet it was, but I
Mhm.
remember one vet was just telling me just enjoy it, enjoy the process, and it's a lot of ups and downs. It really talked to me about finance, like man, just try to make sure you save as much as possible, be smart about your money, because you can't play basketball forever, and it happens quick. But I think that really stuck out to me. I'm not sure which one said it, but I think far as that, and just the older I got and becoming a vet, you see it like if now I'm giving this message to younger players. So I think that's something that really stood out to me.
No, that's great. That's great advice. So, have you gotten a chance to watch the Red Storm team this year?
Yeah. Hey, I actually I've been keeping up a lot with them this year. Well, I always try to keep up with them,
Sure.
just being overseas. And, you play against a lot of guys who did college, and we talk about that a lot. Like, oh, St. John's or so. So yeah, this year now I really like the group, man. This year I think they got a special group. I think it's going to be a really good team. They can make a deep run. I mean, I like what everything they're doing over there, as far as the coaching and the staff and the players they got. I think this is going to be a special team.
Yeah, you can definitely see, they have the players. They've finally gotten all of it together, and they seem to be putting it together. So we're
Yeah.
hopeful. I think you're definitely hopeful that this can be a great year for us. And now you're in Latvia right now, right?
Yeah, yep. I'm
So
in love.
how's the season going? And what's the outlook for the rest of the year?
Season right now, Latvian League, we first place. Euro Cup, we're like sixth right now. We had a few tough games. We got few players injured right now, so it's a long season. We're right in the middle of the batch, but I think we got a great group. We got a lot of potential. Once we get things clicking, just being that we beat some of the top teams already in it, and I think once we figure things out as the season goes on, I think we'll continue to get better. And I think we could make I think we can make a big run at the end. It's a long season, long as injuries, guys stay injury free or healthy at the right time. I think I like our chances.
So when does the season wrap up?
End of April. I think Euro Cup is like, if you make it to the championship is around beginning of May. So for me, it's a lot earlier than most teams in Europe. I don't know if it's because it's the Latvian league or not, but it's shorter than most overseas seasons. So I'll be done earlier than most people in Europe.
Mike Cragg told us that he's trying to get former Johnnies to come to Carneseca, to come to MSG to honor them, and he's been doing it every game. Has he reached out to you?
Yeah, I actually been talking to him a lot. He's done a great job of just reaching out and really trying to. I think that's huge, and I'm glad he's doing that. Just trying to touch in with former alumni and just trying to bring them back any way they can. I think that means a lot just for us, and other alumni just feel like they still part of the family, and still have that opportunity to be there and go to the game. So I definitely, if I get an opportunity, if I'm back, I would love. It's been a while. I think I haven't been back. Well, I haven't really had the opportunity since I think Chris Mullen. I think a game at the Garden when Chris Mullen was there. So if I'm back, I definitely try to. I definitely would make a game if either it's in Madison Square Garden or Carneseca.
That'd be great. We would love to see you there, and we really appreciate you coming on with us, DJ. It's been great to talk to you and talk back on your St. John's career, which was a great career and really something that we all remember and celebrate greatly. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, man, for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we want to thank DJ for joining us there. He was such a great player, and it was so tough to see him, get injured in that Syracuse game, and really that rest of that season was tarnished because of it.
It was brutal. That 2011 team with the first year of Steve Lavin, that was such a good group. That group was there. They signed on when St. John's was at a low point, and to see them build it back and to get to that point, it was a great team, and they were, they really built it to where he was, and to see it end like that with such kind of despair, it kind of sucked that that team really could have went far. I mean, that team minus that injury, we would have beat Syracuse. We were winning,
Right.
Or we were close. Maybe we weren't winning.
Even
but
if we don't.
I felt like we were going to win that game. But we would have been a 3 or 4 seed. I mean, it very easily could have been a 4 seed. We were ranked 15th in the country.
Again, even if we don't, I think we end up with a 4 seed.
So, that team deserved better. It just deserved better, and to see whatever. But it was great to talk to DJ. He was really great to talk to. So
that was a steep drop too. The drop to 6th. We faced an underranked Gonzaga team with 2 7-footers, a couple NBA players on it.
Yeah,
and you know that's bad. That's the St. John's dark cloud, baby.
And they shot like
At its finest.
67%
Wow.
from the field in the 3 or something like
yeah, the
that.
tournament committee screwing us over. What a surprise!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, they looked at our team. It's like, oh, your best rebounder, he's out. 2 7-footers. Yeah, that seems right.
A classic St. John's fumble. All right, let's look ahead to this current team. We've got one game this week. It's a doozy. Florida State on Saturday, 2:30 p.m. It's going to be on Bally Sports or MSG here in the local New York, New Jersey area. The game is actually in Miami. It's at the FLA Live Arena, which is where the Florida Panthers play. Florida State, though, just absolutely stinking things up.
Woof.
2-9 this year. It's the only teams they have beat are Mercer and, by some miracle, Louisville.
Well, 'cause Louisville
Louisville
also
is
Well,
as hot as garbage as they are.
Sure, but I mean, some of the losses that Florida State have are actually, and I say this in the most demeaning way possible, are actually pretty impressive. They have losses too, and not that I'll run through all of them, but they have losses to Stetson, they have losses to Siena, Troy. I mean, really, really bad teams that we're talking about.
Louisville hasn't won a game. They're 0-9. They lost to Bellemere. They lost to Wright State, Appalachian State.
They're one of the 2 teams that are 0-9, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, Louisville's not a great
Pretty
team.
hot
Florida
garbage.
Yeah,
is a.
I mean,
But Florida State is also a dumpster fire, is my point.
yeah. I mean, you look at Louisville. Louisville looks as good as
Well-
the guy who created Papa John's after a night of drinking with frat boys.
Well, at least Louisville had some tough competition. I mean, they played Arkansas, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Maryland, Miami, all those teams pretty decent teams. Florida State has played absolutely no one particularly good except for Purdue, who is obviously very good. And they've stunk up the court against all of them. All to say, it looks like it's going to be a good week for the St. John's Red Storm. They've got 4 guys who average double digits by some miracle on this Florida State Seminole team. Not really sure how they continue to lose games
Someone's got to score.
with that. Well, I mean, sure, they're just.
Everybody scored.
I guess they're probably the only 4 scorers there are. Matthew Cleveland, I think, is going to be the guy to watch out for, if there's anybody to watch out for. 12 points, 5 rebounds a game, 45% from the field is a number that's very high.
That's very high.
We're not going to, well, I should say, we shouldn't have any trouble with
Yeah.
this Florida State Seminole team.
I mean,
The Florida State Seminoles are 333rd in the nation in points per game with 66. And they're tied for 350th in rebounds with 33. To put that in perspective,
They do have a giant, though.
we're 6th in the country in rebounds, and we have 43.
Yeah. But
We have 10 more than them a game.
Jeez.
In points where we have our 52nd, and we have 79 a game, almost 80 points a game.
But
Listen.
think about it this way: whenever we verse a team that's got a literal giant on their roster that is offensively inept, he gets 7, 8 to 9 blocks against us, and they got Naheem McLeod, who is 7'4".
Yeah, but that's because
Oh,
we
wow.
run down the lane and we try to do a layup on all the time. The answer is
It's an issue for us.
it's not going to be an issue for us today because he's going to block the ball. It's going to go directly into one of our other players' hands, and we're just going to put up a shot and make it.
So
I think you also have to talk about for this Florida State team. Yes, they're really bad, but they're also, to be fair to them, they are very, very injured. They lost.
That's true.
They lost Jalen Gainey to an ACL injury. Baba Miller is suspended until at least mid-January. And they also in earlier December, they lost another forward, Cameron Fletcher, and he's going to miss the remainder of the season. So they are very depleted in terms of injuries and their team. I mean, Florida State has been good in years past. So fortunately for us, it looked like it might be an opportunity to get a good win on the road against a solid team, and it is not going to be that because that's just not who they are right now.
You know, the trouble is you book these things so far out. I mean, this game was announced in July. You have no idea how the team's going to be or who's going to be around for it. Some games you even book further out.
Yeah,
It
that's true.
it is what it is. Listen,
yeah.
we thought we had a chance to get against a good team, and Florida State in the past few years has been a tournament team routinely. It just didn't happen this year. So it's bad luck for us. But listen, all it means is another W, right?
Still got to win.
You just got to win it.
Doesn't matter.
You go down to Florida, you get a win. You're not going to get any extra points for winning this game, but head into Big East play at 11-1, and and move on from there. Hope for the best from there on out is all we can do at this point.
Yep. Don't fall for a trap. Keep it going, and then get into Nova.
Yeah,
Take care of business.
That's all we got to do in this game is take care of business. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. For Craig, Tim, and Nick, I'm Vincent. Go Johnnies. Keep chasing.